Hi, it's Jez here from Nigezza.co.uk. Thank you for joining me today. So I've got a different kind of video for you today. I recently got these Love You Always treat boxes. You get 10 in a packet, and I sent some out to customers as a thank you, and I wanted to do this video to give them some ideas of what to do with it. And so it's sort of exploring some dies and different ways that you could use it and decorate it. So the first way I've come up with, and I'll show you how I did this, is for crafty storage. So you may be like me, when you do some punching and some die cuts, you end up with sort of extras, and they sort of lie on my desk, and occasionally they get scooped up and put in a pot. So I thought, well, why not organise them properly and create some pretty storage to keep them in. So that's where this idea came up with. And then I started looking at all my different dies that might work with it, and I ended up making something that fitted a colour challenge for a blog hop. So this is turning into the video tutorial for the Inspiring blog hop as well, and this is what I made for that. So the Inspiring blog hop was a tic-tac-toe colour challenge. So we had a grid of 9. I'd gone for basic grey, petal pink and gold. And I've done this. So a really nice, elegant gift box using the Vine Designs die set, which is just stunning. Absolutely stunning. So flowering vines, in fact, is the name of the die set. Vine Designs is the name of the stamp set. So I will show you how I did this as well, and my little clever little observation there. See if you can guess what I've done there. And but I will show you. So these are them. They're called Love You Always treat box, and they make little matchbox boxes. So I thought I'd show you what they're like. And normally, well, I have bought our boxes before that to make into things, and they're quite good if you're not confident about making boxes. You get 10 in a pack, and they're all sort of pre-scored, and they're really thick. And I actually got these because I thought they'd be quite good. I'm organising my craft room, and I thought these would be maybe quite good for storing things in. So that is the cover. So that's the basic size. Let's see what they measure. So it's about 4 1/8 inches long, which in centimetres, don't normally do this, but I will. I suspect it might be an easier centimetre. It's a 10.5. Let me get my ruler that does both and is really simple to see. There we go. So 4 and about a 1/16 there, and just about 10.5 centimetres. And then deep wise, they are just over 1.5 and just under 4 centimetres. And then, so that's the top, and then we've got this will be the bottom bit. I've picked 2 out there. So let's have a look. They should just all go in together quite nicely. So they're all scored. So fold all those. So quite good if you're doing a party. You want some party favours and you want something quick. These would work really well. So they're like the feel of the card. So I'm reckoning those 2 go in like that. I'm reckoning these go over and down. that must go over and down. Yep, so those go over and down, and then this, yeah, and then this side goes over and right. So what's actually going to happen on the bottom is, I think these two are going to go in like that, and these are going to tuck underneath. So let's fold these out the way for the moment so that you can see what I'm doing. So these ends just fold over and the flap goes underneath. They will be held in place eventually. So that goes over like that. You're going to put that one down. So now that flap will hold those in place. Can we see? And then the hole there is where that's going to go. So that's going to go flat against there, and that go down there. So this is incredibly thick cardstock. I'd say that that was possibly thicker than 300 GSM. And we've now got 2 layers going on the side here and 2 layers on the bottom. So that's a well sturdy box. No need for glue, it's all held in place. And then that goes on there like so. And that is the box. So it's a really good sized box. And I did think it might be good for some crafty storage on my desk. And I thought I could either have them stood up in a row with what's in them on the side like that, or they could be piled on with a label there, or in a drawer with a label on the top. But yeah, they were my thoughts. Maybe a bit of crafty storage. I make a lot of ephemera for my junk journals, so they would be nice storage for things. And maybe on your desk, if you're like me, you end up with extra punch outs and die cuts. They could go in, and maybe little small scraps of paper. You could do one for each colour family and have little scraps in there. So, or a beautiful gift box for someone. So yeah, really, really sturdy. I do think craft storage is the way forward for me. And you could do a little pole. You could make them into a chest of drawers, stuck them together, have a little opening there with something to make that easy to pull open. Yeah, so now we've got it, let's decorate it. I realised I don't think I gave you the measurements this way, because I was just thinking, oh, how wide is it? So this is 2 3/4 inches or 7 centimetres wide. Right, so I think I'm going to do a DSP wrap in it, and I really like this. So I quite like, if I'm going to make crafty storage, make it out of something that I really, really like. So it's 4 1/8 going that way. So that is it that way. So that's sort of covering it entirely. You could, if you wanted a little margin, make it a little less thin. And then to go all the way around, I'm going to allow myself 9 1/2 inches. So, got that. Could make a contrasting thing on the top. I could cut it out of Playful Alphabet and actually put on top what's in it, or I could just create some labels with my label maker. So they're going to go around like that. So I'm just going to quite like it if we got it. We're going to go in the middle. Actually, we're going to have it overlapping in the middle, put the seam in the middle, because you're not going to see it because it's going to be on the bottom. Looking at that, I think I need it to be a smidge smaller actually, so maybe more like 4 1/16. Don't want it to come over, so I'm going to go 4 1/16. Just take that a little smidgy off. Get rid of that. Actually, chuck it away, Jess. There we go. So 4 1/16. Where have I decided the bottom and the top is? Yes, because that's where the seam is. So, yeah, I prefer that. So, of that straight across there. And I'm just going to pinch it a little bit there. Have it going round. Pinch along the top. Pinch along there, and then pinch along there. You can decide which way you want the overlap. You could have done it to the edge, but actually I prefer it this way so that you're smoothing all the way around. So now we can reinforce those little pinches a bit better. So you might decide that that's too much DSP and you could just decorate the top, but I got loads of this Celebration DSP, so it's quite nice. I can use it. Normally I'm like a paper hogger, but when you've got so much, there we go. And I'm gonna just run it down the side a little bit where I cut it. So they should now, there's the top there, that should now go around there really, really nicely. And you can secure it to the lid top so that it stays in place. I'm not going to, because I'm going to explore some different options. Yeah, I'm going to explore some different options for decorating. So I've got some Stampin' Seal, so I'm just going to go down the edge. And stick that across. So there we have it. Lovely. So that's why you might want to secure it. But I say for demonstration purposes, I'm going to leave it unstuck. If I decide later to stick it, I will. But I am sending, I'm splitting this pack up between customers, so I'm only going to leave myself with a couple to play with. So I want to have the option to decorate left with me. So we've got that. So now I want to put some sort of decoration to make it look pretty, although that is quite pretty as it is. You could just do a ribbon and a little sentiment, but I'm going to play with it. So I want to see which of like all my layering dies would work on it. So if you were going to do it for different projects, would these fit on? Right, so that one's too big, that one's the next size down, so that would fit on because the cutting edge is the one in the middle, so that would fit on for putting a label on the top there. So that's handy to know. It might be handy to know, Jez, but you haven't put them in the right order. Right, that one goes on that side, that one goes on that side, doesn't it? No, clearly not. That's probably why it's all over the place, because I got confused. It's not hard to confuse me. And then I was thinking ovals might look nice. I've got a sketch to do with ovals, so I did think, oh, do you know, it's a card sketch. But, so that big one fits quite nicely, so then you've got the one to layer underneath. That's cool. You could maybe do a smaller one if you just wanted a label on it, what was in it, and still see some flowers. So lots of opportunities there in the ovals. We have some stitched rectangles, and I was interested to see if these would form nice layers. So maybe this one. It's probably slightly too big, that one. So that one would go on there with a nice border. And then obviously you could go down and do some smaller ones if you wanted a smaller label, but they would certainly work well. I do like the stitched effect. You could, of course, I've covered this in DSP, you could, of course, stamp on it, which I might do. And then I was thinking, that's too wide. Yep, so you could, if you wanted to label the size to say what was on them, you could use these. That's quite nice. But if you wanted to see more of the background, you could use a smaller one. That's sort of big enough to say what's in it. And you could put one there as well to say what was in it, or even that way across, or even on the end there. That would work. So I think it's handy to have this little explore. I think, anyway. If you're bored, fast forward. But I know some people, they're like, oh, would it fit that? Wouldn't it fit that? So I thought this might be useful. Now, love this set. So we have the big one. It's a wee bit too big. So that fits really lovely, and obviously all of those will. That's a bit more of a fancier. If you were going to label what was in it, that's quite pretty, and that will of course fit on there as well, so that makes it a little bit more interesting. And then these will layer up, won't they? Yeah, so all of those would fit on there really nicely as well. I am definitely thinking crafty storage with this lot. And then we've got these beautiful labels, so I was wondering if that big one would fit on. You'd have a little bit of a curly end over there. If you don't mind that sticking out a bit, that would fit, but obviously this one will fit. So that one would fit on there. Obviously you'd have to trim the sides down. It's too big for the sides there. You have got this one. That would go on the top. And then you have got the oval to go on the inside. So that makes quite a nice label. I really like that look. If you, especially like for some of my vintage stuff, that would look really nice. It's kind of like a vintagey sort of label there. Just thought of that. Like that a lot. I need to remember that. Might look nice as a book plate on front of an album. Might do that for my next one. And then we've got these triangles that I have just recently received. So I just recently did some notebooks and I had triangles on opposite sides, or you could do little triangles in each corner. Oh, and that reminds me, of these. If you were going to make a vintagey one, they would work well, wouldn't they? Obviously with different paper, but you could have one of these in the corners. And that would make a nice little decoration on there. Oh, cooking on gas. Again, that would be lovely for something vintage. Oh, now then. Will a memories and more card fit on the top? Right, you could trim the sides down a little bit. I mean, that one, explore more. That's quite a good thing to have on the top of a box. Explore more, open it up, see what you find. So, that's an idea. Put them away. Yep, so some of the triangles do fit in. I think that one would be too long if it went like that. Might just fit on as a sort of a geometric idea. I'll have one of the smaller ones. Have a little flag with a label on it. It's a bit different. Put some smaller ones on the edge there. Liking it. So just giving you options to explore and think about when you're thinking it's just a box, but actually you could use some of your other stash with it and do some other things. And then I've got these hearts that I thought you could make a little Valentine present, or I think that one would be too big. Yep, but that's the one that there, that one will fit on. So that's the one that cuts both sides, so you just get an outline. So that's quite nice. And then you could put a smaller one next to it. That one's quite cute. I think that just embosses the circles around. I haven't actually tried it, but there you've got a nice little box there. So that was all my dies that I was going to try out. So there are quite a lot of possibilities. So anyway, to decorate this, I am thinking of pretty perennials. I might die cut a flower to stick on the top of that, or fussy cut one of these out and do a little label. There, so I've got these two cut out, and I think they will look nice either side of a little label. So then we're just going to decide which label I'm going to use. So I've printed on my printer, die cut some printouts, punch outs, and I've done it in Misty Moonlight so it kind of matches. And so I'm just going to die cut them out. I did some smaller ones as well to maybe go on the side and the top, but I'm not sure if they're going to be the right size. But that is the right size for that. Works quite well, that does. So I'm just going to trim this down like there. And that'll go in my little mini die. The other way around. Oh dear. Might need another coffee. There we go. I'm hoping I haven't moved it at the bottom and that it will be okay. Yeah, I did catch it in just. Thought I had. I kind of hoped. There we go. That looks cool. So I'm going to put those on. and I am thinking about the others, but that, obviously this could be a sentiment as well if you were doing this as a gift, but those little flowers look quite nice on there, and that would look quite pretty as storage. And also I did cut these ones out as well to think that depending on how you were storing, if you're storing on the side, my idea was that one would go that way, and if it was on the front, well, either of those would fit. But I just did my printer, set it to 6x4, so I wasn't wasting too much cardstock, and then get it to sort of print out. And that's my favourite font, Noteworthy. It's what I like. Stick it in. So let's stick these on. And then of course you can decide whether or not you want to pop it up on dimensionals or just stick it directly down. I think popping up is a nice idea. And that is a little box, nicely decorated. And so you could see how it might look if it was for a gift, but I do like a bit of crafty storage that I've made myself, and that'll look pretty. So that could be on a shelf looking at me, it could be in a drawer staring up at me, it could just be on my desk, which is more likely that it will just be on my desk. I've got a couple of more ideas, quite excited. So as I was putting all the dies away, I came across this new one that I've just got, the Vine Designs with the flowering vine dies, and it has these 3 beautiful dies, and this gorgeous rectangle fits on top. How cool is that? I was so excited, so I thought, oh, that'll look good. And the oval as well would fit on there, so that would be beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The circle overlaps, so that's not working quite so well, so I was really excited about that. So ideas. And then I remembered these layers, and this one would fit on quite nicely, and then from the stitch rectangles, so that could be the background, and you could put your label on there of whatever you wanted, and that would fit on top of there really nicely. So that's a cool idea. And then you could use this round the sides as well if you wanted to. So those are possibilities. So I thought I'd make those up and show you. So I've cut out some elements, and whilst I was cutting, I was sort of thinking of the colours, and then I remembered I've got a colour challenge. So these are the colours. It was a tic-tac-toe, so I've gone for petal pink, basic grey and gold. So I'm going to put some gold embellishments, these gilded gems on it as well. So that fits lovely there on top. So I've then cut, so you get these flower shapes, and they do go with some stamped images, so you could stamp them and die cut them. But I thought to make it a little bit sort of elegant, it's my hope, do like grey and pink, I just cut them out and I'm going to stick them behind, so it's just popping through. I've cut enough to cover them all, but I may or may not do that. And then if you remember, I got the these dies, the ornate layers, and I cut the long one. There it is. So the long one that goes there, I sort of cut that in petal pink, thinking that it would go on the side of the box, but that cuts it and leaves it in. And then came up with a brainwave. Sometimes I just surprise myself. In this set, you get this die here to cut out for sentiment, and this will fit inside it. And then I cut it out using the lovely pick a label punch, and that just go on the side there. It does poke out. You could do it slightly smaller than I've done it there, so that it doesn't poke out. I might just trim it a bit, but it will fit on there beautifully. I was so chuffed. So let me just show you how I did that. Okay, what I did for this one was I cut the inner first, and then fitted this round. I think it might be simpler to do it the other way around. So let's have a go and see. So get my little mini die cutter. I do love this little mini, so handy. So got me little scrap. You can see where I've cut the other things out. Okay, chuck that. So I'm gonna cut that one out first, put it on a bit of a wonk, and see if this way's a little bit easier. I did have to use some washi to line up the other one, so I think this will possibly be easier. So we got that. Let's get rid of some of those. Didn't poke them out very well. Didn't poke them out at all, to be honest. What's in here was already out of it, so I didn't need to. There we go, one stuck in there. And then I'm just going to lay that on top. Might get a bit of washi. I think fixing it to the top is easier than the way around I did it. So I'm going to take off some of that sticky so it doesn't rip. So line it up. It kind of just fits really nicely. And then all I'm going to do is put that across like that. And that's it, nicely held in place. Watch it slip as I go in. And so all it's going to do is cut the holes in it. It's a stay-in die. And they're all cut nicely. Pull that off gently. We don't want to rip it. There we go. And that, gorgeous. Just think, what beautiful pattern. So I did think a little bit, Jez, that's amazing, well done. Sure, other people might have worked it out, but that's what I do when I get sort of new things. I kind of play around with it and see how different ways I can use it. And so that is another way. And then to do the outside, I just cut it at 3/4 of an inch. So I've got my strip here that I lined it up there at 3/4 of an inch. You could of course use any trimmer that you've got. Line it up, not quite straight. Well, sometimes you think, gosh, just get on with it, Jez. There we go, 3/4 of an inch. And then with my lovely pick a label punch and my templates, so put the strip in, double check that it is straight there, and then sort of line it up where I like it. And then to know at the other end, I use my little template. So there's my little 3/4 of an inch template. Laid it on there. I say if you did it slightly closer to the edge, it will fit in a bit better. Actually, to make sure it does fit in this, why don't, cooking on gas now, cooking on gas, put it there, and then on this side take our snips and we'll just cut it there, and then we know it will fit. So in theory, fingers crossing now that this is right. So I'm going to pull it in a tad. There we go. So now that fits in there. So the other one is a little bit longer. And then that will go on there, and you've got this nice little border around to stick it on. Thought that was very cool. Liked that idea, and I might just trim this ever so slightly. So I'm going to go in and punch just a little tad off each end so that that will fit. And that will now fit on there like so. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. So it is nice when you find lots of different ways to use a product. Right, so this needs sticking on and these need sticking on. So my Tombow is running out, but I'm just going to leave it upside down a sec. So I'm going to adhere these to the underside of this. So it's just going to have a little bit in the middle, but then when I stick it to the box, it's going to go all the way over that. So it will be secure. So I'm going to put a little blob in the middle, maybe slightly up these bits, so that this matching the points, and then you can see got a slight bit of wigglage if we need to wiggle it a bit to put it under, so that'll look nice under there. So let's put these back in place, and then we do the same thing for the other one. So a little blob in there, take one of these and make sure we're lined up where we should be. So a little bit fiddly, but some things are, and they're worth doing, I think. So let me just show you how I do these ones. Exactly the same. Going to put a little bit glue in the middle, and line that up over the flower like so, and that is, see it better on the box. So I'm going to carry on doing those, and then for this is quite easily stuck on because there's quite a lot of big spaces here, so we can go around those edges. And stick this down. making sure we've got even edge at each side. And that's that done. So I'll carry on sticking these on. So that's them all covered up, and so now we can apply glue to the back of these flowers. If you weren't making many, an engagement present. So we've got a little bit of wigglage here. Let's stick that down. And then we can put these on the two sides. You could do some stamping behind if you wanted to. The cardstock, this is shiny, but for the one that goes around the outside, the shiny's on the inside, so this is smooth, so it can be stamped on. So it might be that you're getting married and you could make one of these for your bridesmaids with the bridesmaids gifts in. So that's that. And then for the colour challenge, it's gold. I do think silver would look better, but the colour challenge is gold, so gold is going on there. So there we have it. So I think actually the gold goes quite well with the sort of peachy pink of Petal Pink. You could put some gems around the sides if you wanted as well. So that is my two different ways of using these boxes. A really elegant present or some crafty storage. Okay, all the details will be over on my blog, nigezza.co.uk. There'll be links to my shop if you wish to purchase any of this. Not much time left to get your freebies, but if you did get this Fine Designs and the die set, they're in a bundle, and I can't quite remember how much it is, but I think it's enough money to get that for free. So there you go. All right then, I'll see you again soon. Stay safe. Bye bye.